You don't have to be a roboticist. You don't have to study engineering to change the world in robotics.
Susanne, what got you interested in robotics? How did you start your journey?
Very good question. So my journey actually started not in a typical robotics or roboticist way. I started studying chemistry and did my PhD in chemistry. And after that, I always went to chemistry because it was such a good combination of theory and practice. You can do something really to work with the books, but you also do something in the lab, so it's hands-on, probably similar to engineering. And when I finished my PhD, I actually noticed I don't want to work in a company where I just develop new products or new chemicals. I actually want to be more the communicator. So I then trained with the European Commission to do some science communication, which already was the first step to do what I'm doing today. And after seeing that and learning how to work with the Commission, I changed to go to the association, because that actually was a good combination of being close to the industry, not losing the ground to the development, but also the commercialization of products, but also being a networker and communicator. So my first area in the association was actually flat panel displays, which then also got me to the robotics, because you can really produce flat panel displays or for example, the displays used in cars without robots. So I saw the huge potential robots actually had in producing those tools. And that's when I then decided to go to robotics and be a communicator for the robotics industry.
Wonderful.
How did you get into IFR?
I first of all started on the European level.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of working back with the Commission and this inspiring discussion about framework programs and research funding and all the European legislation. But there's so much more to it, and so I really like the idea to see the cultural differences and bridge those cultural differences. If where I'm now working, so I got that opening for the IFR, and I said, well, that's cool, I'll take that. Because I, on one hand, can still do the communication. I talk a lot to the press, I really enjoy that. I can design the messages. But I also get to work with the different companies and associations around the globe. So when some discussions I had on a European level were really on our special European focus, on our European opinion, I now really have this discussion about seeing what the Asians are doing, how different the Chinese take the robotics approach compared to the Koreans or the Japanese, for example, and also how the Americans are working with robots and what they are thinking, how they are pushing the technology in a different way than the Asians doing, and then mixing that to the European perspective. That's a real challenge and the real fun part of my work.
Yeah.
And then IFR has the statistics to back everything up, so we can, whenever we have that message we want to bring across, we can feed some figures in there stating that we can see the development not only for the industrial robots, but also for the service robots. So that's a full spectrum, and it's still a bit of the advocacy work that I was doing before, but just on a different level, looking more on the global perspective than on the limited European one.
Yeah. Last but not the least, what motivates you and drives you, and what kind of purpose have you found from your work?
I really enjoy bringing more women and girls into the topic. It's such a great topic. Robots are such great tools, and everybody should benefit from that. And we need more bright minds in the robotics industry and the robotics community. And we should spend more efforts actually to get more girls and women involved. I mean, it's still, It's still a very male-dominated world, I have to confess, so far. The technology is not limited to men, so it shouldn't stay that way. We should get more women involved and motivated in whatever you can do to increase their motivation and raise the awareness for that technology. I'll do that.
Right. Well, you for sure are one inspiring role model that hopefully young women around the world are watching and taking notes that there are no one path into robotics, and you can get into the field through many different routes.
I think that's one important point you just touched. You don't have to be a roboticist. You don't have to study engineering to change the world in robotics. There are different angles and different approaches, and everything is needed to make robotics a tool. Robot is not just a piece of engineering. It's more behind. There's software behind it. You have to sell those robots. You have to market those robots. You have to adapt them to a certain purpose. I mean, a robot is just a basic tool, and to really make it to the point to a certain purpose, you have to work on that. So that there's so much more. So there would not be the one profession you have to choose to go into robotics. I think that's also shown by my own vita.
Through your own example, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.